we will move forward with our Ending the HIV Epidemic Subcommittee. So I will turn it over to them for the first resolution. Who will be speaking on behalf of EHE? Guillermo.
My partner in crime is in a call right now, but thank you, Dr. Leo. I believe that all of you have in your folder the resolution is 1 page. I assume that we conclude, as all of us know, as soon as the final document is sent to all of us, is no room for changes. But it's basically for pause for a couple of moment and pause for a moment and request that you have it handy. And I believe Dafina would like to, do you want to go the second one? Okay, perfect.
I prefer that we go through each one. We could actually
it's more than 1 page.
Yeah.
Where the resolution is
For
actually
EHE.
4 pages.
It's 2 resolutions, right?
Yeah. Are you looking
Yes.
at which one are you looking at?
I'm dealing with the ending the epidemic. 1 page. The second resolution is multi-pages, and I will.
Okay.
Just clarification for everyone. So the Ending the HIV Epidemic Subcommittee resolution is the U equals U resolution.
Yeah.
Got it. And then
So we'll start with the U equals U
it
resolution.
will go straight to my twin brother.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, real quick, can we get it on the screen? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna wait till they pull up. There we go. So thank you, Guillermo. I'm just gonna take over from here. That's okay? Cool. Okay. For context for this resolution, we have put forth a resolution with the EHE subcommittee, the working group. And I want to give a special thanks to those who played a vital role in the development of this and who have helped edit this. Thank you to Mackenzie Copley, to Cal Trustin, Maureen Goodnow. If I am missing any other folks, I think Jesse may have made some few mentions into this document as well. Yes, Natalie, thank you so much for all of your input on this document. We first started on this and presented this to PACHA back in, I think, our August meeting. And I was someone who has been a big supporter, big pusher, if you will, for this in this subcommittee, in this body, to include U equals U and get this on the desk of our secretary. I just knew it was going to happen with ease the first time around. And months later, here we are, and it's finally made it out of the subcommittee and into the full body. And so I'm really appreciative of all the work that has gone into this and behind this. This is really important because this is a document where in a body that we usually focus on and talk about people who are HIV negative, we always hear about PrEP. And I think for the first time, we have a one-of-a-kind document that focuses on people who are living with HIV, specifically centered around viral suppression and how important that is for the secretary. And so the recommendation that is on the screen, do we need to go through through each line? What do we need to? No? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I hope that everybody has now gotten a chance to look at this U equals U recommendation resolution to go to the secretary's desk, and I would like to make a motion to pass this resolution.
I second that motion.
Yeah.
Guillermo Chacon, second this motion. Apologies.
I'm sorry, Teddy, to go back. DeAndre Moore's do we need to wait for questions or? Yes, I'm sorry. So I motion this. My apologies. DeAndre Moore, motion this this resolution to be passed to the secretary, and we're going to open it up for discussion around this first.
We'll go to Carol.
Carol.
It's just a question about formatting and your reading so that when it goes to the secretary, it may be better received. And my suggestion would be that the footnotes be condensed at the end rather than interspersed, so that the actual resolution is probably only pages or less, because there's so many footnotes. So it's really a question about how will this be received a recommendation to format it differently so that it's received better by the reader.
Great recommendation, and that can be done before it's submitted. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, is there a motion on the floor?
I motion to pass this resolution. DeAndre Moore.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? If so, say nay. Resolution passes. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on to our second resolution, and I will turn it over to Daphne Ward.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this resolution coming out of the Stigma Disparity Subcommittee, which was the primary charge of our Stigma Disruption Work Group for 2024. As we were examining how we want to disrupt stigma in our efforts to end the HIV epidemic, this resolution has come forth as a proposal for PACHA today. We are seeking to add stigma eradication as a fifth pillar to the Ending the HIV Epidemic in the U.S. initiative. If I may read a bit of it, if that's okay, because I know it's only one page, so I want to make sure that everyone understands the importance of what we're proposing here today. Whereas that the Ending the HIV Epidemic in the U.S. initiative aims to achieve the goal of reducing new HIV diagnoses in the United States by 90% by 2030, focuses on 4 key pillars: diagnose, treat, prevent, and respond. Whereas that stigma associated with HIV is the pervasive structural barrier to effectively address the impact of HIV on our nation and U.S. territories. Whereas that stigma impacts the population at large, impeding social responsibility to connect and deliver HIV critical services, including diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and response. Whereas that stigma such as racism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, and xenophobia generate a negative impact on the quality of life of the most vulnerable in our society. Whereas that every social segment of our society, such as academia, researchers, the medical community, public sector, community-based organizations, social service providers, media, and others must proactively address eradication of any type of stigma. Whereas stigma is also a key indicator, indicator 7, in the National HIV/AIDS Strategy, which addresses stigma through education, culturally competent care, anti-discrimination policies, community engagement, mental health support, and data monitoring, emphasizing its importance in improving health outcomes and reducing barriers for people living with HIV. Whereas that eradicating stigma is an essential factor in promoting the goals of the EHE, be it resolved to strongly recommend to the Secretary of Health and Human Services adding stigma eradication as the fifth pillar of the Ending the HIV Epidemic in the U.S. and Territories initiative. And I would like to thank everyone who contributed to the creation of this. I'm not going to start calling names because I'm going to miss somebody, but everyone on our work group, Guillermo, I got to shout you out just for your push around this initially when we began our work group work, and Alicia, and just everyone, Tiomi, who's not here with us today, and just everyone for your support, for your review of this proposed resolution. If I may, I make a motion at this time. At this time, Daphne Ward, I would like to move that PACHA, move that you approve this proposed resolution, which would add stigma eradication as the fifth pillar to the Ending the HIV Epidemic in the U.S. initiative.
Second by Guillermo Chacon, and I want to call Stephen Vargas to this space that in Houston, if you remember, a long time activist living with HIV, and he challenged us that exactly what we just did here. Because don't forget that space is PACHA members just to listen to the community. It's not about a conversation, but about a listening. We listen to Stephen Vargas, and then the vision of Dr. Leo and Irania, and then task this work group. And this is a very specific issue that I think will address the biggest issue when we talk about HIV. Thank you.
Thank you so much for raising that, Guillermo. I'm going to turn it over to Jesse for any feedback.
Now that this has been seconded, I think by Guillermo, we're into discussion. My only I love this. I think it's really important. I just want to be technical that line 30 is not a resolve. It states that we ought to recommend. I think it needs to be clear, be it resolved that PACHA strongly recommends that the secretary add this, because right now it is stated, be it resolved to strongly recommend, but it needs to state that PACHA strongly recommends. So that is my recommendation, and hopefully that's a friendly amendment. Be it resolved that PACHA strongly recommends the secretary add.
Any other recommendations?
Accepted by the mover.
Yeah, I was gonna move. Ooh, Robert Rules of Order, okay. I, Marvell Terry, move to make the amendment that Jesse recommended to the resolution.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Are there any additional recommendations for edits to this document? All right, hearing none, all in favor of passing the document with the stated changes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. This resolution passes. Thank you all. Awesome. All right. So we have now passed two very important resolutions. And I just wanted to say once again, Guillermo, thank you for raising Stephen Vargas's name in this space. It really is important that folks in the audience and those on live stream know that we really are listening to the recommendations that you make and thinking about how we can advise. And so this is just one of many examples of that. So thank you. Now that we have passed our two resolutions, I would love for us to have some time for reflection. Reflection from our members first, and then we'll also offer opportunity for reflection from our federal partners. So if you would like to provide some reflection, some thoughts you have about the time that we've had here, the very impactful time we've had here, please put up your placard. I saw Guillermo first.
I think what we just listening the voices of the wonderful folks that work in Alabama and spending time, I think this entire meeting, and as we close the year, it is critical for us to remind each of us that partnership, I think, is the way, the theme that I would like us to walk away, but also one of the most beautiful words from Joanne Selma was, and also the person from Rosa Parks Museum, we have to acknowledge our history in order to shape and reaffirm our principles and values and be faithful for that as we close the year and begin a brand new 2025, that we will need that wisdom, that understanding, and how important it is to bring together. And I think PACHA-to-the-People embody that. But again, I think we calibrate our GPS to have more clarity where we need to go. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Guillermo. DeAndre?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge all of the comments that were made during PACHA-to-the-People. I know that we didn't get to address them as a body, but my hope is that everyone that had comments online, Jules, and to those who made comments in person today, that you take time to write that out again. I can't stress it enough. You have until December the 19th to get those comments in and make sure that we can see those and we can hear those and properly address them in our future meetings. And I also want to point out to PACHA that this meeting is the second time, I think, out of all the meetings that we've had, one back in Houston, where rural areas continue to come up and that they are not being addressed enough. And so I hope that in our subcommittees, we figure out ways going forward in the next year to address the needs of rural areas more in depth. And figure out ways to bring a new resolution and more resources to these rural areas. And lastly, to the First Lady that spoke up earlier, thank you for taking us to church. I needed that today more than I could have said, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, DeAndre. Carol?
I just want to thank the organizers, particularly Dafina, for organizing incredible site visits, the museum, the panels. It was a really awesome PACHA meeting and experience. And I'm using somebody else's words, transformative. It was really transformative. So thank you so much. And then I also want to thank the folks from the community, both who did the site visit. Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Mic drop.
New definition of mic drop. I was thinking the same thing. Do we have any other? Apologies, Kayla.
It's okay. I just wanted to say again, I appreciate everybody who showed up today and took space. Coming from a rural area in the South myself, Albany, Georgia, I understand what rural communities look like. I understand what the barriers look like. And a lot of the times when we are in these spaces, federal spaces around people who have power, they are the ones that are not in the room and are not hearing the stories and understand what the stories look like of the people who face these barriers. So I just want to again say thank you to everybody who came, who took up space, who used their voice. Our voice is our power, and I'm going to always tell people and encourage everybody, if you have a voice, use it. If you have a position, use your voice in that position. And again, just thank you everybody for coming out today.
Well said. Thank you, Kayla. We'll go to Dafina.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank everyone. First, the PACHA family, PACHA members, for your openness to the experience and making the journey to Montgomery and being so respectful and open, and allowing yourselves to be transformed. And thank you to Caroline and Chloe for all of your hard work to make this happen. I don't know if you all understand how much work it takes. And to my Alabama Southerners, the family of folks who sat through this meeting with us and listened and were engaged, and more importantly, who are doing the work every day. That last panel messed me up. I thought I was going to be on the floor in tears. And I have to say, each one of those folks that you heard from have been described as trouble in Alabama. Making noise, causing problems, won't shut up. And look at them transforming this state. And I am so thankful that you all refuse to be silent and silenced. Thank you for what you're doing every day. We will not leave this place and not take with us what we've learned here as a body. And thank you, DeAndre, for naming the necessity of prioritizing with intention the needs of rural communities in the South, because most Southerners are in rural communities. And we know, everyone has said it, we end the epidemic through the South, period. So thank you all so much. I'm just really, really full and appreciative of this moment in time. And we will not leave here and leave what we're feeling in this moment behind. So thank you.
Thank you, Dafina. I'll now open the floor to our federal partners around the day. Oh, apologies, Jesse.
It doesn't happen that we get to say thank you to people in person who have served in federal roles, but I do think it's important that we have a sense of the meeting, that we thank Francisco Ruiz, on these minutes for his heroic work, his visionary work, and his work as an example of meaningful involvement at the highest level, from the White House to the grassroots. So I offer that we have a sense of the meeting to thank Francisco for his service as the director of the Office of National AIDS Policy in the final months of the Biden administration.
Yes, thank you so much. Now we'll go to Caroline Talov.
Thank you, Dr. Moore, and thank you, everyone. Just a few quick announcements. I'd want to say that this meeting has been so meaningful to me. If you've ever talked to me offline, not outside of work, you know, civil rights is something I'm always thinking about, talking about, and it connects so much to our work. And so a few thank yous. This could not have happened. None of it can happen without Kay Hayes and Tim Harrison. So, and to have this week with these two people, for me personally and professionally, has been so meaningful. So we've said it a million times, but it's worth repeating. This is an award. I want to let you all know that she has spent so much time with this agenda, so many phone calls, and I want to just get things done. So she was just, let me think on it. She was so intentional and thoughtful in how we did this, who we included. And so I know she's going to kill me because she's done crying, but really, truly, Dafina has been, has made this happen as well. And really, so thank you, Dafina. I also want to thank Emily Downs, who in our office, who is the NHOS queen, but she also helps with PACHA and helped with the engagement visits. So shout out to Emily. A huge shout out to Chloe Loving, who has officially been part of Team PACHA for a year now. This cannot be done with Chloe. You've seen her running around all day. So thank you, Chloe. If she's not running around, she's crying of happiness and joy. So thank you, Chloe, Rosalie, Stephanie, Damon, Justin, everyone that's helped. Just a huge thank you. And last and certainly not least, I need to take a moment to acknowledge Miss Alicia Diggs. She has been on PACHA since June 2020. She was sworn in during a weird time. We were virtual during COVID. And I will say that Alicia, you know, I give you guys assignments, your annual ethics trainings, your whatever it is. She is the first to submit her homework. She is always quick to step into leadership roles. A perfect example is today, a last minute request, and she jumped right in. And so we're going to miss her so much on PACHA. I'm going to miss you so much. And so I just want to publicly thank you for everything. You're incredible, and PACHA won't be the same without you as a former member. So thank you, Alicia.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to say anything because of the sweat in my eyes. It's not tears, it's sweat. It has been a phenomenal journey for me. That's really what I can say. It has been a life-changing journey. Because honestly, in my transparency, anything policy is not my wheelhouse. It's on the ground with the people. So to have the opportunity to be in this space and learn so much and also build family. I have family here. I see family here. Many times when you're on the outside of these spaces, there's a small intimidation there because you feel like there's imposter syndrome, I will say. And once you get in the space, you realize that you're not alone, that you're linking arms with everyone and you're doing the work. So I just thank everyone for having me. I'm really not going anywhere because I'm going to follow y'all around. But it's just been an honor and a pleasure to be a part. Thank you.
I just want to remind everyone that Pacha family is forever. So we look forward to staying connected and staying family. I'll turn it over to Marvell.
Carolyn, I wanted to ask, is there an opportunity to revisit the locations for next year? I know we have voted on where we're going, and they're all major metropolitan cities. And as we have heard here, I think we need to visit a rural city. And I understand the logistic challenge of moving a body like this to a rural space, but just wanted to put before the body if we can reconsider at least one of the cities for next year to be a rural city or somewhere outside of the South. All the cities we've selected are in the South for next year.
Yes, there's always an opportunity to change. And when we do the dates for the year in advance, my only request is that members are flexible if we want to make changes. So yes, we will, next time the co-chairs meet, we'll talk, we'll revisit, and we will circle back. So yes.
Thank you, Marvell. And we'll go to Tim Harrison.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to really thank PACHA members, particularly for their spirit of engagement. It's one thing to sort of travel to a place or come to a meeting, but your level of engagement around these issues with communities is really felt. And so I really want to thank PACHA for that. And the federal partners too, who come out to this, who really are engaged in this. And then a big thank you to the communities here in Alabama who come from Montgomery, Selma, and other places. And in the South across Mississippi, we had Mississippi and other Louisiana. I really appreciate your engagement with us. Thank you for hosting us, for having us here to listen. And then special thank you to Caroline. If you haven't noticed, she wears her heart on her sleeve in a good way. But she was so committed to this PACHA-to-the-People in Alabama. I can't tell you how committed she was, and really wanted all of us to sort of soak up all of what this means to be down here in this space. And so I really want to thank Caroline for pushing this. I was thinking, we're here. I remember it was just an idea that we might go down to Alabama and what we might do, how we might make this a really transformative visit. And so I just really want to thank Caroline for her support, her commitment, because she means all of what you can see visibly.
I'm just going to add on to that because one of the things I love about Caroline Talib is that she is not a talker, she's a doer. And so when we discussed, well, but right now I'm emphasizing the doing. Because when we talked about going to Alabama, she instantly went into the mode of how do we get here? So thankful for you and your leadership. And I also, while I'm on Caroline, I'll also talk about the rest of the OIDP team. So many thanks to Chloe and to Emily, of course, to Kay and Tim and all of the OIDP team. Can we give them a round of applause? Now, I know this woman is tired of hearing her name today, but I'm going to say it again, Daphne Ward. So I mentioned in my comments yesterday that I'm from Mobile, Alabama. So I was born in Mobile. We moved to Atlanta when I was 12. So I don't feel that I've ever really engaged in Alabama in the way that I have until this visit. I went to the Legacy Museum yesterday. It was my first time. I went to the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. It was my first time. And tomorrow, Dafina is taking us to Birmingham. So it'll be my first time at 16th Street Baptist Church. And so just so grateful for your leadership. And it was so evident in what we heard from people here, right? It's one thing to talk about being in community, but to be in community, be one with community, be connected with community. It makes all the difference. So thank you. Can we give a hand for Dafina? My next thanks goes to all of our site visits. So those are community engagement visits, rather, those organizations that welcomed us in. So first to Five Horizons Health Services, thank you for having us. Mhm. Also, we're going to thank Selma Air as well. Thank you, Selma Air. Thank you, Larry and team. And last but certainly not least, we have to thank Mrs. Joanne Bland. We have to thank her for telling us the story of the 1965 voting rights Selma to Montgomery March. Just sitting with her and hearing her story firsthand was life-changing. It was transformative. And then later to meet her sister, Miss Linda, Miss Linda Blackman Lowry, a famous sister. So many thank you for our community engagement visits. Next, I'm going to thank our panelists. So much wisdom was shared, so much expertise, experiences. So can we give a round of applause for all of our panelists? I also want to thank those who spent time with us here in person and on live stream as well. We know that it is a commitment, a time commitment to be here and to be present. So we want to thank you all as well. Yes, round of applause. Going to take a moment to thank our PACHA members for your ongoing commitment to this work. The work of PACHA continues. As Nipsey Hussle says, the marathon continues. I want everyone here to know that our members are committed to doing this work for as long as we can. So until there's any change, we are here and we are committed, and we still will always be committed to this work, because for many of us, for all of us, I would say, this is our life's work. And so let's see, the last thing I'll mention to everyone is, when's our next meeting? So our next meeting will be Wednesday, March 26th through Friday, March 28th of 2025, and it'll be in Washington, D.C. Really excited about that. Yes. I did see a placard go up. Kayla, was there something you wanted to share? Okay, all right. All right. All right. All right. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all.